We'll start with your question. What's your question?
All right, so, I am used to manual lens,
Yeah.
right? And then I noticed with gimbal,
Yeah.
you need to use
Focus puller.
focus lens. Now, I don't know, is it possible to use gimbal with a manual lens, or it must be a autofocus lens for it?
Okay, it's a matter of preference. I use, because I don't use to hear word, I use gimbal with manual lens. The reason why it's the reason why you use a gimbal more preferably uh, with an automatic lens is basically because of convenience. You know, your hand is not on the lens, because if your hand is on the lens, chances are that you might be shaking the footage, right? So because of that, it's best to use a gimbal with an automatic lens. But that is if you're a freelancer and you're the only one working. Because they still use gimbals and stabilizers with cinema cameras, these big ass stabilizers and gimbals. And they use cinema lenses. The difference is they have somebody on the side called a focus puller who has a monitor, and the focus pulling device is attached to the lens on the camera. So he's controlling the focus from behind the scene. So the camera handler is just focused on capturing the shot. There's somebody else at the back who handles the change of the focus and all of that. Okay, so you can actually use a gimbal with, some gimbals even come with focus pulling devices with it, like the Zoom Crane 3S Lab and all of them like that. Some gimbals come with it. You attach it to the lens, and then it has a knob on the body of the gimbal that you can use to adjust, the focus as you move. Okay, so the issue of using automatic lens with a gimbal or using manual is a matter of convenience. And me, my gimbals actually have the focus puller, but I don't use them a lot. I use my hand. You see me the gimbal like this. I'm tuning the focus. Oh yes. I think a lot of the times, what you need to learn with your manual lens, when you get used to them, one of the things that happens is you get to know when how to slide it, or when you slide it out of focus and back in focus. That's why you have these numbers. These numbers are measurements for you to be able to tell where your ring is. For example, if I focus on you and I'm at, let's say, this is the point. This is the base. If I focus on you and I'm at the middle of 3.0 to 1.0, right? If I lock that in my head, it's too much trouble. Maybe that's the reason why people just prefer to use auto lens. It's too much wahala because you are putting numbers. The moment I move out of that focus small, I know that to get back to that focus, I just have to come back to the middle of that number. I don't even have to look at the camera. It will give me. But to cram that number is, to cram the number and put all of that in your head is the problem. So you either have a focus puller or you just use your auto lens, JJ. But auto lenses, a lot of them are overrated. Cinema lenses are actually best, and they are the manual ones. Auto lenses, yeah, they are good ones actually, but those things. All right, that answers you, right? Okay, good. So we are going into another aspect. We've done lighting. We're not completely done. Subsequently, you're going to learn some other things on lighting as we go on, as you work with me and whatnot. But for now, let's leave it. At least by now, I'm sure that you people can light. Abby?
Yes.
So good. So we can move to other things. So, by way of introduction, I'll start by saying that an aspect of filmmaking that most upcoming filmmakers do not pay attention to a lot of the times is the psychological aspect of filmmaking. There is a psychology about filmmaking. And when you understudy that psychology, you'll understand why it is that there is nothing about filmmaking that is a mistake. There is nothing that is done in the production of a film that is, how do I put it now? That is useless per se. Every effort put into the making of a film is important because of the psychology of filmmaking. And that is where you see that Hollywood tops the bar. Because they have very well understood how it works. And I call it the psychology of filmmaking because when you see a film, two parts of you are seeing the film. Your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Leave it. Right? Now, your conscious mind is actually seeing the live action. Your conscious mind can see maybe one or two things at a time, right? Maybe the action that's happening in the scene or on the scene, your conscious mind is focused on it. Maybe there's a dialogue in the scene, or maybe there is some form of action in the scene. Your conscious mind focuses on that thing that's happening. But there is another part of what is happening in the scene that you are not actively focused on, but it is being transmitted to your subconscious mind. And it all forms a part of the viewing experience of the film you're watching. So there is the one you are seeing actively, and there is the one that you're not really focused on, but it's part of the storytelling that is appealing to you without you even knowing. And a lot of things work in that regard, like what we talked about before. We talked about leading lines, rule of thirds. We talked about shapes and colors, the psychology of colors, color theory, and how all of these things play a role in telling the story in filmmaking, right? Another thing that is very important, or two things again that are very important in storytelling in the most subtle, almost unrecognizable way, is camera shot types and camera angles. See, every camera angle or shot type you see in a film, and I'm talking Hollywood now, every shot type you see is captured to help interpret the scene and tell the story. So, no shot is captured just because we've not captured this type of shot. Like the way we have it here a lot of the time. Say, now don't shoot finish. Now don't capture see you. Oh, I never capture see you. I beg you, capture one see you close up. Oh, capture one see you. After we finish, why are you capturing see you? We never capture them. But what if a close-up shot is not needed for that scene? There are scenes that you don't need a close-up shot. If you use a close-up shot, you would have completely destroyed the story you're telling. Or you would have completely spoiled the scene, the interpretation of the scene. So what does that tell you? Every camera shot type has a meaning. Every camera angle has a meaning. And these meanings that they have are subtle in telling the story. So when you see a close-up shot, it means something. When you see a wide shot, it means something. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you what all of these different shot types are and what all of these different camera angles are and what they mean. Do you understand me? That's what we're going to be doing today. Right? First, what are camera shot types? Camera shot types are basically, see, one of the things that I have told myself I will not do as far as this filmmaking thing is concerned is try to complicate things. the tech, because I remember when I started my journey as a filmmaker, I was always wondering when I want to sabi all these things. All these names, all these numbers, all these FDs, EXPD, when I want to sabi all these things. Then you start the journey and you realize they're actually not complex. They're just basic concepts you need to understand and you're good to go. They are not complex. So my job is not to complicate things again. It's to make them as simple as possible. So when you hear camera shot type, what does it mean? The camera shot type, a camera shot type is basically the framing of subject, how the subject is framed to appear in your shot. That's what a shot type is. That's simply what it is. How the subject is framed to appear in your shot, how a subject is framed in your shot. That's your camera shot type. Or you can just say how your subject appears in the camera. That's your camera shot type. Then what are camera angles? The angle the camera is positioned to capture the shot. That's just it. There is no big English. Camera angle is the angle the camera is positioned to capture the shot. So the shot or the shot type is the camera shot type, Abi. So the camera angle is how you position the camera to capture that camera shot type. So it means that camera angles can work in tandem with camera shot types. So let me give you an example. For example, I'll list the camera shot types. So let me give an example. For example, if in camera shot types, there's a shot called close-up shot. In camera angle, there's a shot called low angle. You can capture a low angle close-up. Okay? The close-up is how the subject appears in the camera. The angle is where you position the camera to capture the close-up. Simple. Do you get it? No stress. Okay. So let me list. First, let's start with the camera shot types, then we go into the camera angles. Okay, we're going to focus on 7 camera shot types. Then we'll focus on 9 shot angles. We have what is called the extreme wide shot. We have what is called the wide shot. We have the full shot. We have medium shots. We have close-up shots, extreme close-up shots. We have, finally, the point of view shot, POV. Now, the extreme wide shot, which is the first on the list, is the widest of all shots. As a matter of fact, most aerial shots are extreme wide shots, like drone shots, for example. You can take close-up shots with drones that capture, drones with zoom and whatnot. You can use them to capture close-up shots. But most aerial shots are extreme wide shots. How do you recognize an extreme wide shot? An extreme wide shot contains the most amount of detail about a scene. The focus of the extreme wide shot is not to single out a subject, but to give information to the audience about the location of the scene. Do you understand? It doesn't particularly single out a subject. It gives information to the audience where something is happening. So for example, if I want to show, maybe I'm filming a scene in this studio right now, but I want to give the audience who's watching the film an idea of where it's happening. What I will do is, I will use an extreme wide shot. For example, if I want the audience to know that it's Abuja, I am not showing them, I may not show them this plaza. But I may show them city gates and then the landscape of Abuja. You are seeing a whole lot. There's a lot of information, a lot of detail in an extreme wide shot. It contains so much that gives the audience an idea of where the scene is located. Right? And one of the uses of an extreme wide shot is it is used as an establishing shot. An establishing shot is a shot like I just explained. It is a shot that primarily gives the audience an idea of where an action is taking place or where a scene is located. You use that to establish the scene. That's why sometimes when you see a film, before they show you inside of a room, they show you an aerial view of the area. You may not even see the house in the shot. The first shot might be an aerial view of Lagos, for example. Then they may now show another shot of just the house. They may now show another shot that has the house and other houses in the environment in the shot. That's the next type of shot, wide shot. A wide shot is a pushed-in extreme close-up shot. A wide shot does not contain as much detail and information as an extreme wide shot. So with a wide shot, you can single out a subject. For example, like I said about the house, you can have the house. So in the wide shot, you have the full house showing, but you have other houses. Maybe if it's an estate, you have other houses in the estate showing and whatnot. But it narrows the mind of the viewer to the fact that this is the house where the action is taking place. Because the central focus of it will be that house. Then, for example, again, let's say we've gotten into the house and we have a shot of the entire parlor. We are seeing a shot of the entire parlor. All the chairs are showing, all the TV, the furniture, everything is showing in that shot. It's a wide shot. Okay? A wide shot is also actually used to establish. It is used to establish a scene, to show where the action is taking place, make the audience aware that, okay, this is where the action is taking place. For example, if I'm shooting a scene in a mechanic workshop, I can establish it with a wide shot of the workshop, people just working and doing stuff, show some of the mechanics, show some of the persons in the workshop, and just everybody is just in that wide shot or whatnot. Then my main character, I push into my main character. That way, I have subtly informed the audience without giving out so much, per se. Without actually, is it giving out so much? No. Without focusing attention too much on it. That might not be the reason for that scene. Right? Showing you where the action is happening might not be the reason for the scene. Maybe the scene they want to fight. The main crux of the scene is that fight. But showing you all of that showing the audience all of that gives them an idea that this fight is taking place in a mechanic workshop. Because if you just cut it to the fight scene and they are just exchanging blows, where then they actually even fight safe? The audience will be lost. You see that you're subtly giving them hints and information with your shot type. So that's why you use. So, for example, if you're shooting a scene where you don't want the location to be known, maybe somebody was kidnapped or whatnot, and you're trying. This is one of the mistakes they make a lot in some of the films, some of our local films. Yeah, somebody was kidnapped and whatnot. You are trying to show that the location is a hidden location. And then you're using a wide shot to establish the scene. Not using a wide shot will psychologically interpret to the audience. How do I put this now? If you don't use a wide shot for a scene where you want to hide the location, what you're doing is you keep the audience that are watching lost also as to the location of where that thing is happening. Now, since they are also lost in their head, they can enter into the emotion of the film to understand how the other people in the film who are also not aware of where the location is are lost. You see it in Hollywood. For example, if you watch 24, series like 24, where there's a lot of that kind of kidnap and whatnot. Somebody is kidnapped. Perhaps the only thing you will see is a dark room and then maybe one small light somewhere. So you that you are watching, you are also lost. You follow, what now happens is, you now begin to follow the detectives in the search for where that house is. As they are getting clues and all of that, you too, you are getting the clues. You are looking for the clues in the film. Why? It was not given to you. The location was not given to you. If they used a wide shot, they would have given a hint also to you who's watching that there's something you can find. There's something. So you will no longer, you even begin to feel like, is it that these people are mumu? They don't already, not be this place, not be this. You will not be lost. So that's the psychology of it. It's how shots are used. So you don't use an extreme wide shot or a wide shot when you don't want to give information. When you want the audience to be lost, or when the scene is a scene that is supposed to show that your actors are lost, they don't know a lot about where they are going or what they are doing, you lose them by not showing that information. You don't establish the scene to the audience. That's why you watch Hollywood movies and it's as if you are a detective. Because everything they are doing puts you in the film. The psychology, every shot is designed to put you in the film. You are not just watching. You are Jack Bauer. You are following it. Subconsciously. If not now that I'm telling you, you didn't even know that you were following it. It's now that you go, when next you watch a film, you will now be realizing, now your eyes are open. So you now be realizing it. Before now, you did not know that you were following the actors to act. That's the psychology of cinematography. Thank you. That's the psychology of cinematography. So if you know what all of these shots are and how to use them rightly, you have nailed it. Right? So we've talked about extreme wide shot. We've talked about wide shot. Let's talk about full shots. A full shot is a shot that shows the complete body or frame of your subject. Your subject is in the complete frame, from head to toe. There is a slight difference between a full shot and a wide shot because it can be easily mistaken to be the same, because a wide shot, you can have your subject rather in full frame as well. You're from head to toe. But the difference between a full shot and a wide shot is this. The full shot focuses primarily on the subject from head to toe and tries as much as possible to expunge or take away other things from the scene as possible. So, most of the times, a full shot, the frame ends at the head of the subject, leaving just small space for headroom. Okay? So it starts from the head, ends. But a wide shot, there can be excess headroom. You know what headroom is now? So that is the major difference between a wide shot and a full shot. So a full shot is used to show physical action and interaction, and it's also used to establish the physique, the persona of your subject. For example, in films where, in a scene where you want to show the glamour of your subject, you want to show that your subject is just puckered, neat, cleanly dressed, sweet, like some of the shots you see in Suits, where have a Spectre with his clean, neat suits and whatnot. You see a shot of a full long shot. It shows the elegance and persona of your subject. It's a way of telling the audience, it's a way of giving the audience a feel of the personality of your subject. You get? Because they are seen from head to toe. of your subject. They are seeing the entire physique, the body, the build of your subject in full frame. If it's a lady with curvy body, she's curvy and she's tall, elegant, neatly dressed with nice heels and whatnot, and all her shape is out there. And you don't want to focus on one, you give her a shot from head to toe with focus on her, not the environment. With focus on her from head to toe. You sell the elegance and the grandeur of the lady. Why is smiling as I say lady? As I'm describing the lady, he's just
I was thinking of Jessica Pearson when you mentioned.
Jessica Pearson, okay, in Suits, right? And another effect, another psychological effect of a full shot is that it balances weight. It balances weight and elements with the environment. So, for example, it is not showing the environment to be submersive of your subject. It's not as if your subject is lost in the environment or whatnot. It's like it balances the both. So the scale of your subject compared to the scale of things, other elements in the scene will be balanced. Do you understand? If you use an extreme wide shot, for example, it does not balance scale. For example, in a desert, and if your subject is in a desert, just surrounded by a sea of sand, right in the middle of it, and you take an extreme wide shot, you are showing the scale of your subject compared to where he is, how insignificant your subject is compared to his environment. There's no balance. You are psychologically telling the audience how this person is finished compared to where he is, he's done for. So your subject is just one tiny thing in the middle of a vast sea. There's no balance, but a full shot gives that balance. So it in a way shows your subject to be in charge. He's in control. Do you understand? He's okay. He's balanced. Then we have the medium shot. A medium shot, I like to call it the half shot, right? Just as the name is. It is a shot that divides your subject into two. It's usually from the waist of your subject up or from the waist down. Remember, we're talking of shot type. Shot types, rather. So, any shot that captures from the waist upwards divides, because your waist is half of you now. Most people, apart from some abnormal people, that their legs are longer than the rest of their bodies. Is it even abnormal at all? At all. But then some people, their waist is not half of them. Some of them is from their lap. But typically, a medium shot is a shot that divides a subject into two. One half is in frame. The other half is out of frame. Simply that, right? And the medium shot is the most perfect shot for conversations. It's a conversational shot. It's right in the middle. It is not showing your subject to be in any kind of imbalance or too much of balance, right? It's right in the middle. So it is used a lot for conversations, for when people are talking. And that's why it's the most preferred shot for talking head videos. Most talking head videos are best shot with mid shots, right? It's not close up. It is because it is conversational. It is a shot that is conversational. Do you understand me?
So,
Good. Then we have the close-up shot. If we're using a person as an example, a close-up shot of me will be a shot from my shoulders to my head. Or at most from my chest to my head. Right? That's what a close-up shot is. A close-up shot is an emotional shot because it draws the subject a lot closer to the camera, so the emotions of the subject can be easily seen with a close-up shot. So a lot of the times when you want to communicate the emotions of a scene, if you use a wide shot, you might not get it, especially if the emotion is in the face. Let's say the person is sad. He's not crying. He's sad and whatnot. If you use a wide shot, who will see the face? Or use an extreme wide shot? It might be hard for people to see the face. But when you use a close-up shot, all of the emotions will be visible. The audience will be able to enter into their emotions with the person and feel the pulse of it. They travel with the emotions of the person with the shot. Okay? And close-ups are even used for even dialogues a lot of the times, especially when the dialogues become intense. Because when the dialogue becomes intense, emotions begin to flare. So they switch to a close-up instead of a mid-shot so that you can see the emotions. You can see it pass from one person to the other in the scene, right? Then we have the extreme close-up shot. Extreme close-up shot is a pushed-in close-up shot. If a close-up shot is a shot of my shoulder, is a shot from my shoulder to my head or from my chest to my head, an extreme close-up shot is a tight shot that focuses on one particular thing. It could be a shot of just the eyes. It could be a shot of just the mouth. You could see a scene where somebody is talking, you are not seeing the person's face, you're just seeing the person's mouth moving. One of the major uses of the extreme close-up shot is to give intricate detail about a particular thing. Let's say, for example, there is a tattoo on somebody's body that is important to what you're trying to say in the scene. You could use an extreme close-up shot to isolate that tattoo and show it to the audience. Anybody who is very used to Hollywood movies already knows that whenever there is an isolation of something like that in a scene, maybe it's not related, maybe the scene is just happening, then the camera just isolates one particular thing and shows you in few seconds. Anybody who has watched a lot of Hollywood will already know that that thing is going to be important to something somewhere in the story. You keep it somewhere at the back of your head. That's the psychology of filmmaking. They drop you hints.
Need it in power.
So they don't just use shots anyhow. Don't just say, okay, because extreme close-up, they show eye well. If you use eyes, the eyes of the subject will be very, very, and this my subject, this lady, she fixed lens. This lens is so fine. Let me use extreme close-up shot for this her scene. And then she's giving dialogue and it's only her eye we see from beginning to the end, no meaning. Because she liked the eye. Shao. Right, so that's how you use an extreme. And then the final one is the point of view shot. The point of view shot is very simple to understand. It is a shot where you turn the camera into the eye of your subject. So the camera no longer is the camera, it is the eye of your subject. The camera imitates the movement of your subject's eye. The point of view shot is the most immersive shot type. It is the shot type that immerses the audience the most of all of them because it makes the audience feel like they are in the action. It makes them feel like they are in. That's why when you wear VR headsets, it's point of view. When you wear a VR headset, all those things that you watch on TikTok, you see people doing like this and they're shouting, The reason they feel like that is because they are seeing that thing from a point of view. It feels like it's you that's seeing it. So if the camera turns to the eye of the subject and you are watching the subject through a TV screen, it means the camera has turned into your eye. In a very subtle way, you don't even know. You still feel it's the eye of the subject, but you are more immersed in the scene. Anything that happens to the subject will shake you more than if they use another shot type. That's the reason why video games use point of view a lot, like Call of Duty. all you see is the gun like this. And you're seeing it from, as the gun moves, the camera is moving with it. It's the eye of the subject. When they shoot, it will do as if they shot at you. But you're viewing it from a device. It immerses you. That's what a point of view is. It's not this one that everywhere on TikTok. What is not a point of view? They just put POV, ... Me when I buy a Benz. What is point of view? You understand? It's not that abuse of point of view that we have on social media. A point of view shot is a shot that converts the camera into the eye of the subject. So the audience begin to see the action through the lens, through the eye of the subject, and it immerses them into the scene. So for example, if I'm shooting a fight scene and I want the punch to hit very well, I will put the camera like this and allow you, instead of punching me, you punch into the camera and shake the camera the way my eyes would normally shake if I receive that kind of punch. So as the punch lands, the camera goes with it. So when somebody watches it, when the punch is coming as you're watching it, it will be as if the punch is hitting you in the eye. Just like those videos where those wicked videos that people used to send, that maybe somebody wants to play golf, and then you are looking at the screen and then they hit the golf. Phew! It comes straight for the screen and you jerk. That's point of view. That's how immersive a point of view shot is. So understanding what it is and what it does, you now know how to use it, how best to use it when you're filming. Okay. So, camera angles. For camera angles, the first one we have, let me list them out, then we'll go into them one after the other. We have low angle shots. We have high angle shots. We have Dutch angle shot. We have overhead shot. We have eye level shots. We have shoulder level shots. We have hip level shots. We have knee level shots, and then we have ground level shots. Now, like I said about camera angles basically deal with the positioning of the camera, the placement of the camera to capture the shot. So when we talk about low angle shot, what is a low angle shot? How do you capture it? And what does it mean? A low angle shot is captured with the camera positioned below the eye line of the subject. Remember when I talked about eye line, right? Of your subject, this is the eye line of the subject. Your camera, if your camera is positioned at the eye line of the subject, it means your subject can look straight and it will not look like he's trying to find the camera or whatnot, right? That's eye line. Your camera at the same level as the eye of the subject. So for a low angle, you position the camera below the eye line of the subject, tilting upwards. It is not like this. This is not low angle. This is under angle. A low angle shot, you position the camera below the eye line of the subject, then you tilt it upwards towards your subject. That's how you capture a low angle. What is the psychology behind a low angle shot? A low angle shot is a shot that shows your subject in a domineering position. It shows your subject to be in charge. Because the audience is seeing the shot from the viewpoint of someone who is below the subject. Do you understand? The camera is positioned to show the shot from the position of someone below the subject. So it shows your subject to be in charge. That's why a lot of the times when some kind of action is about to take place in some Hollywood films, they go into a low angle, the slow motion. You are seeing them. The camera is positioned low and then tilted upwards, and they are coming with their leather jackets, bouncing, gang, 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 gang. You know that the boss is here. And sometimes that's how they introduce a major character that's about to turn the whole scene around, turn things upside down. They introduce him with a low angle to show that this person is in charge. And sometimes, even in dialogue scenes, it is used also to show who is in charge of the dialogue. So for example, if in a dialogue scene, you are capturing one person from a low angle and another person from maybe a high angle. There's also what's called a high angle shot. Right? A high angle shot is the opposite of a low angle shot. It is positioning the camera above the eye line of the subject, tilting downwards. It shows the subject to be in a despondent, lost position, a lowly place, because it shows that the camera is looking down on the person. So, for example, in a dialogue scene, now how you use a low angle and a high angle in dialogue to show who is the boss is, for example, if two people are talking in a scene and you're capturing one person from a low angle shot and then the other person, you're capturing the person from a high angle shot. The person you're capturing in a low angle shot is the boss of the conversation. Is the one leading the conversation. He is the other person is a boy in that conversation. That's the psychology of it. It's a subtle way of telling your audience who the main person is in the scene, who is the dominant figure in the scene. That's how you use the low angle and the high angle shot. So the high angle shot shows vulnerability and insignificance. Makes the subject look weak, small, and insignificant. That's what the high angle does. The low angle, on the other hand, does the opposite of what the high angle does. Then you have the overhead shot. Remember, the high angle is the camera is positioned above the eye line, tilting downwards. The high angle is... This is high angle. Sorry, overhead. Sorry. Even high angle is you position the camera above the eye line, tilting downwards. It doesn't face down completely. Overhead angle is like this. It's completely facing down. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
It's also called the bird's eye shot. One of the major uses of the overhead angle is first to show spatial difference, like the difference between the subject and the environment and the surrounding, because you're seeing the shot from the vantage point of a bird, for example, let's say like an eagle, right? It helps you to see the subject compared to the environment. How insignificant the subject is compared to where he is. Just like I said of the aerial shot of someone in a desert. Most drone shots are overhead angle shots because the camera is facing down. Do you understand? You face the camera down. Some are not facing down, but most you capture it with the camera facing down. Okay? So that's one of the major jobs of an overhead angle. But apart from that, it is also used for scenes where an investigation is ongoing. If an investigation is ongoing in a scene, you use an overhead angle to show detail of what is in that scene. If you watch a lot of detective movies, you're going to see that a lot. When they are trying to show the scene, they show an overhead shot of the scene so you can see almost everything. Maybe if someone is dead on the scene, you can see the corpse somewhere. You can see clues, all the different clues detectives are looking at and what they are seeing. You can see them from the overhead angle. Then you have the shoulder level shot. Now, how you capture a shoulder level shot, I've got to show you this by an example. Come. Stand here, like this. Come. Stand here. Face him. How you capture a shoulder level shot is you position your camera behind one subject, but you're not focused on the subject you are behind. You're focused on the subject in front of him, right? But his shoulder will be showing in the shot. It is a dialogue and conversational shot. It is a shot that shows that this man here is not talking to himself. There's someone he's talking to. That's why the shoulder of this other person is showing. Sometimes parts of the head will show. right? But mostly it's the shoulder. And if I want to capture a shoulder level shot from that place also, I'll go behind him and capture from his shoulder focused on this person. That's a shoulder level shot. It is a conversational shot. See it. It is a shot for dialogue scenes. It is used a lot for dialogue scenes. Do you understand? It's the most widely used shot in films. So long as there is dialogue in the film, you must see shoulder shot. You must see it. And the reason why it's used for dialogue is because it's a neutral shot. It's not actually trying to tell anything or not tell anything. It's just there. So it's for conversations. It's for dialogue. Then we have the hip level shot. The hip level shot is a shot of your subject's hip. It is a shot used a lot of the time to focus attention on a particular thing, perhaps on the hips of the subject. And most of the times it's used in cowboy films. Because cowboy films, you have them holster their weapons in their waist, right? So when you want to show, maybe you want to show that this person is holding a gun, it has a gun strapped to his waist, you use a hip level shot. And another thing with the hip level shot is that it builds suspense. If it's a cowboy film, for example, and action is about to take place, and the camera goes to the hip of the person, and you begin to see the hand of the person moving slightly to the gun, there's suspense, there's tension, it builds tension. That's why it is used. It's not just used anyhow. Not that because gun is on somebody's waist, you just be showing the hips anyhow. Hips don't lie. That's not it. It is used to convey suspense, to build tension. Once they show the hips like that, you just know something is about to go down. Your anticipation begins to build for what is about to happen. That's how you use the hip level shot. Then you have the knee level shot. The knee level shot is captured from the knee. Now, understand something about all of these shot types. For example, the hip level shot, if your subject stand here like this. If this is my subject now, this is his hip. I can't capture a hip level shot like this. This is a high angle of the hip. I'm capturing from a different angle. This is not the hip. Remember we said that camera angle is basically the positioning of the camera, how you position the camera. So the position of the camera is very important. Hip level shot, you bring the camera to the level of the hip of the subject to capture it. You don't capture it like this or capture it like this. You keep it on the level of the hip of the subject and capture it. Then knee level shot is a shot of your subject from the knee downwards. So if I want to capture a knee level shot, what it means is I'm going to crouch, right? Then I'm going to capture from the level of the knee of my subject all the way down, right? The knee level shot, just like one other shot I'm going to mention, is greatly used for tracking your subject's movement. Right? It's a tracking shot most of the times for your subject's movement. You're just showing the legs of your subject walking and whatnot. You use the knee level shot. Then you have the ground level shot. A ground level shot. I said we're talking about camera angle and it's all about the placement of the camera, right? A ground level shot is most of the time is literally placing the camera on the ground. Most of the times to capture a ground level shot, you place the camera on the ground or as close to the ground as possible. So when you see me sit like this and I put the camera like this, it's not completely on the ground. I'm trying to capture a ground level shot. Because to capture the shot, your camera must be on the same line with what you're capturing. You can't capture ground level shot like this. And of course, you can't capture it like this, like this, right? So you come to the ground, either place it on the ground or close to the ground. Now, the ground level shot is used to track movement, right? It's also used to build anticipation and suspense. For example, if you don't want to reveal the entirety of your subject at the beginning of the scene. You want to start by building anticipation. All you want people to see is the leg of the subject as he's walking into the scene. Use a ground level shot. As he's walking, the camera is moving on the ground with it. Just his leg showing. Just like the knee level shot also. But also the ground level shot is also very, very effective for action scenes. Especially car chase scenes. Yes. It gives, what the ground level shot does for scenes like that is, it gives a childlike perspective, number one, or an insect's perspective. So you could see a car chase scene, cars are swerving past, running and chasing each other, and the camera is placed on the ground. And the car drives past it. Or the camera will even be in motion also. The car is coming like this, the camera is coming from the opposite direction, and then they pass each other like an insect, as if an insect is seeing the action. It brings the action close to the audience. Do you understand? Sometimes you place the camera on the ground and somebody just jumps over the camera whilst they are running.
Even the car too.
Yes, a car goes pass over, the car drives over the camera, or you even position the camera on the car in such a way that it's capturing the tire, every turn of the tire and whatnot. Watch Furious, Fast and Furious, you see a lot of such shots. Every turn of the tire, you are seeing it. Every turn of the wheel, you see the tires and all of that. It is immersive. Okay? So that is how you use the ground level shot. I think we're done with the theory of camera shot types and camera angles. What next now is going to be the practicals, where we'll practicalize each of these shot types. I'm going to show you. We're going to capture each of these shot types. I think we should do that in the next class. Capture each of these camera shot types and camera angles, one after the other. Then I give it per assignment from it. Is that okay? Any questions?
So I have a question, but quite not related to.
Go ahead.
So I wanted to ask, what's the difference between videography and cinematography?
Aha! A good question. What is the difference between videography and cinematography when all of them are graphics? Eh? It's just like, what's the difference between somebody that snaps picture and a photographer? But no, that's not it. Videography basically has to do with the handling of the camera to capture images, right? To capture videos. A videographer, just like a photographer, captures images, videos with a camera. That is all about a videographer. His job is to know how to use the camera, know how to set the camera. What's happening to your background? Leprosy? Let us just hold on, small, I'm almost done. So, okay. So, a videographer's primary assignment is to understand how the camera works, how to set the camera, and how to capture videos with the camera. That's who a videographer is. A cinematographer is far beyond that. A cinematographer is responsible for the visual communication, or for the visual elements of a film. It's beyond just the video, right? Videographers or camera handlers, cameramen work under the cinematographer. A lot of cinematographers don't even touch the camera. They don't handle the camera. His job is to ensure that everything that is needed to visually tell the story is in order. So most of the times, the gaffer works with the cinematographer. The gaffer is the person in charge of lighting. He works with the cinema. So the cinematographer gets the idea of what the scene should look like from the director. Right? The director is in charge of the general direction of how everything will go and all of that. So the cinematographer gets the idea of what the scene should look like. He looks at the storyboard, he looks at the mood board and everything. Then he works with the lighting department to determine what kind of light will achieve that visual story that you're trying to tell. Now, to achieve this visual story, what kind of camera do we use to achieve it? It's part of the cinematographer's line of thought. So he calls the cameraman, what kind of camera, what can this camera produce and whatnot? Okay, I think we should use this. They get it. He also works with the set designer to ensure that the colors in the scene and the other elements in the scene work in tandem with the story they are trying to tell. So a cinematographer is like the head of department, the head of visual department, sort of. He's in charge of everything that has to do with how the visual story comes out in the end. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
He's the one that looks at what angle, if there's a location, what angle are we going to shoot against to get the best shot? Then he tells the cameraman, okay, we are shooting against this angle. The cameraman's job is not to worry his head with all of those things. It's to know how to handle the camera to achieve the visual picture that the cinematographer paints for him. But that visual picture is painted by the cinematographer. Do you understand? So the cinematographer is like head of an entire department. A videographer is in that department with the cinematographer. But the cinematographer is the HOD. Do you understand?
The person who does the editing, is it the cinematographer?
No, he's an editor. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying before the class started, that one of the problems we have in this side of the world is, maybe because of the environment, everybody wants to do everything. So if you know how to handle a camera, you want to be an editor, you want to be a makeup, you want to be a makeup artist, you want to be a sound designer, you want to be everything. But that's not how it works, right? It's okay to have an idea of all of these things, but it is best to have a team of people that are good in specific things. So if you're a director, direct. Get a good cinematographer to handle your visuals. Get a good cameraman that knows how the camera works and knows how to use his stabilizers and whatnot to handle the shoot. Get a good editor to do the editing. If you are good at editing, good for you. You can, at the end of the day, get your raw videos and edit it the way you want as the director. Some directors edit, okay? But the job of editing is for an editor completely. That's why I always say that it will be very difficult for anybody to see my videos and expect to see effects here and there. Lightning striking from this place, fire shining from somebody's eyes. I am not a VFX artist. That's not what I started off to do. I'm a storyteller. I'm a filmmaker. When there is need for effects, I would like to work with somebody who is professional in that field, who might not be a storyteller like myself, but he's a very good VFX artist. He can do his own, I do my own, we work together, and we get the very best out of it. So if you want to be a VFX artist, be a VFX artist. There's space for you, right? If you want to be a storyteller, I'm a storyteller. I love documentaries. I love films. So that's what I do. So that's it. there's a job for everyone. An editor is an editor. A director is an editor. Most of the times, what we have here, most videographers know how to edit because the hustle is real. If you know Zabi edit, you know go chop. Because after you finish video, you do video, and they paid you 150K. From that 150K, you transport. You paid your transport. You probably even paid your accommodation. Maybe the work is outside where you stay. You paid for hotel 15K, where you use bucket to fetch water from downstairs. It's just so that you can save small money. Then after you now finish again, you now come back home. You now call one editor. How far I've done this? Can you help me edit? Can you edit this for me? Now gives you bill of 50K from 150 that they gave you. At the end of what is left, you now buy data again to use and send the work to the client. So that's why a lot of persons prefer to also know how to do some of these other things, right? To know how to, how to edit. It's an added advantage, okay? But in the real scheme of things, on professional levels, it's okay to specialize, okay? If I'm on a big production set, for example, I would not even touch the camera. I'll be behind with the monitor, seeing what's happening, directing, and have everybody, because you should have a competent team that handles everything for you, right? It makes the job better and smoother for you.
How about you, that makes sense?
We're done. Another question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The shoulder shots.
Yeah.
To an angle you shoot, like when you both of us are standing.
Yeah.
From my shoulder, you're taking him.
Yeah.
If you want to shoot from his shoulder, where's the right
Now that's where the 180-degree rule comes in. Both of you stand. It's a silent rule. The 180-degree rule is a silent rule that you don't cross. So if I shoot from this angle on my subject, on this subject for a shoulder shot, when I come here to shoot, I should not go to this place to go and shoot because it will disorient the audience. From this angle, the way he's looking is in this direction, right? So if I shoot from this angle, he will be looking, I will not get the same look from his own side. So if I shoot, I'm supposed to shoot from here. So if I shoot your own from here, when I come here, I shoot from here as well. You don't cross. You don't cross like this. You understand?
Because of the angle.
Yes, you don't cross like this, you shoot like this. So if you start from here, but there are times where you break the rule. For example, when there's a shift in the conversation, it's part of the elements. The camera can move, maybe we start capturing from here like this, and there's a shift in the conversation. The camera can move and break the rule here to signify that something don't change for this talk when they talk. Do you understand?
So what about the camera now? Their positioning. If they are going to be not both side, I mean one camera, this other camera is going to be shown or it's not supposed to show.
Well, it will not show now. But how will you allow camera to show when you're shooting film? This boy, they're suspicious. No. No. They will not show now. Position them. You position them in a way they will not show. And most of the times you use one camera. After capturing the shot of this person, you switch the camera to the other side. And then if you're going to use two cameras, you might position the other camera far away from this thing and hide it. But most of the time you use one camera. You capture from one angle of the talk. You have them repeat the scene. And you capture again. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay.